Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to all the college coaches out there. This is a new podcast coming in today. My name is Coach Anthony Williams. I am the founder and CEO of a company called Connected Athletics. We're a new startup company based here in Austin, Texas. We have created a technology platform that allows student athletes to successfully transition from high school to college and then either into a sport as a professional or into a career based on their major or based on what they're passionate about. Um, the Spotlight podcast is one of the many features on our roadmap for Connected Athletics. It's been a big hit for college coaches and most importantly for student athletes who want to share their story, tell their story about their journey, about who they are on and off the field, talk to about the coaches to their about their academics, talk about who they are and what their family and the importance of family, and then also talk about their recruiting. Before we get into our guest tonight, I want to shout out my sponsors real quick. First sponsor I want to shout out is Buffalo Wild Wings. A good friend of mine, Brian Soltis, regional VP here in Houston, is taking a very detailed effort to showcase student athletes of all sports here in the state of Texas. I want to thank Buffalo Wild Wings for being a sponsor and allowing these student athletes a platform to tell their story. I also want to thank my friends up in Nebraska, Go Edit Graphics. They are a graphics company that allows high school and college athletic departments to create these dazzling graphics to help maximize their outbound messaging from their athletic department for teams, for players, schedules, dealing with the media, all kind of stuff. So if you're looking for a graphics company that will give you some template, great designs to share the message about final scores and player stats, you might want to give my friends at Go Edit Graphics a call. And then lastly, a good friend of mine runs a company called Epic. Epic is a new, exciting sports apparel company based in Houston. Epic stands for Every Play I Compete. They do uniforms, they do 7-on-7 uniforms, they do caps, gloves, protective masks. They do a whole variety of designs of apparel, and it's really, really nice. So you might want to check them out. Their Twitter feed is I am Epic 247. So shout out to Stefan Johnson, my good friend with them. So thanks to all my sponsors. But tonight, the main reason I'm really excited, we have a young man that I've known for the last couple of years. Started to evaluate him back when he was in middle school. Ended up selecting him for the FBU Freshman All-American Games powered by Adidas. KJ Smedley, class of 23, athlete, DB, receiver. Palmer Ridge High School. He's based out of Monument, Colorado. He's got great length and great size. He's 6'2", 175 pounds. Love the GPA, 3.95 GPA, which coach is going to love. Obviously, he's got a student athlete award. As I mentioned, he was a freshman All-American. And coaches, you can see his Twitter name there. KJ, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, Coach. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to hear more about your story and to tell the world about you. You are somebody that I've gotten to know, you and your dad and your family, a great family. You're a great kid, always has a smile on his face, loves to compete. And besides all that, he's an elite athlete. So KJ, let's jump right into it here. Let's talk about the first thing coaches want to hear about, and that's your academics. You're rocking this 3.95 GPA. Tell us about the importance that you put on your academics.
For all student athletes, you're a student first. I really believe that. So I'm always striving to be a straight A student, as you can see with my 3.95 core GPA.
Okay. Do you have any favorite classes that drives that GPA?
My favorite class is math. It's just always came to me naturally ever since I was in kindergarten.
Okay. Are there any other courses that you favor?
I definitely have a love for science too. I feel like math and science go hand in hand. So science is also another natural class for me.
You know, KJ, there's not a student athlete who hasn't had a teacher or coach or tutor or counselor, maybe an AP or a principal that's had an impact on them academically. Take the time to shout out somebody, whether it was elementary school, middle school, and high school, who's made an impact on you in your academics.
I definitely want to shout out my freshman year honors English teacher, Miss Krebs. She's definitely put me on a great path to English is my hardest class, and she's put me on a great path to continue to be an A student in English.
Perfect. Love that you remember her name and shout her out, because without good teachers, there wouldn't be good student athletes. So I appreciate you doing that. One thing KJ coaches want to know about is your learning style. Every great coach needs to understand and modify how they teach, how they develop to that player's learning style. tell these coaches, would you consider yourself more of a visual, verbal, or hands-on learning style?
I definitely am a visual learner. I bet like I'm a big whiteboard kid.
Okay. Now, does that learning style change from the classroom to the field, or is it the same no matter what learning environment you're in?
On the field, I'm a mix between a verbal and a visual.
Okay. Okay. And then, great news here. Obviously, this week, all college coaches are back with summer camps, and eventually they will be able to get back on campus probably here in the fall. For college coaches, when they do get back on to high school campuses and see you in class, give them a hint, give them a preview. Where are you sitting? What's your body language like in the classroom? Are you interacting with your teacher? You sit in the front or the back? Give these coaches an idea of what they're going to see when they do eventually come by your high school.
With these coaches walking into my class, they'll see me in the front of the class. I'll always be participating, asking questions, and just being focused, locked in my school.
Okay, I like it. I like it a lot. Tell me, when you do struggle with a class, and it doesn't sound like you struggle with very many with a 3.95 GPA, but when you do struggle, what is the process you use to get help? Do you meet up with a teacher? Do you look for a tutor? You look for help from maybe a teammate, mom and dad? Tell us what your process when you're not doing as well as you want in a class.
I usually begin by looking over my notes and my flashcards, but if that doesn't work, I'm not scared to ask like help from my teachers.
Okay, good. That's good to know, because there will be a class in college that you will struggle with. Nothing against your high school, but get ready for that. Love that. So, hey, let's switch over, talk a little bit about your family. Great family. Tell us about your mom and dad, their occupation. Were they former athletes? Are you an only child? You the oldest, youngest? Give us a little more background about your family.
My dad was an athlete in high school too. He participated in football, track, and basketball. Just a couple years ago, he just retired from the Army after 25 years. And his main thing he did in the Army was fly Apache helicopters.
Nice.
And my mom was also an athlete in high school. She was a cheerleader and a track runner.
Okay.
And she just retired about a month and a half ago as a sergeant major at E9. And then I'm the middle child. So I have a little brother who's currently in 7th grade. He competes in football and he races dirt bikes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then I have an older sister who just completed basic training for the Army and is currently taking classes to become an air traffic control.
Wow. So there's a reason why we've gotten along so well. I'm also an Army brat. My father, 32 years in the Army. So before I go by with any more questions, to your mom and dad, thank you for your service, for the freedom that we provide for you and I to do what we love to do with freedom. So appreciate them doing that. It's a great background on your family. Gives me even more insight to the kind of young man you are, because of a very structured military environment. I was born in Frankfurt, Germany, so I know exactly kind of what you've been through. So kudos on that. Hey, KJ, tell us a little bit about, I know how hard you work out in the off season. I know how hard you work out with your trainer to work on your speed and your hips and your footwork. Obviously playing games in the fall. When you do have some free time, what are some of your hobbies and interests outside of your sport?
Outside of my sport, I love to snowboard in the winter.
Okay.
And then in the summer, I love to get out in the mountains and go camping. And of course, I play the game, the Xbox.
Okay. All right. I hear you on Xbox. What do you, Madden, Call of Duty? What's your favorite game?
I'm a big Call of Duty guy. That's my main game. Yes, sir.
All right. I like it. Okay. Tell me, you obviously know you've got a great social media presence and brand. You know the importance of social media when it comes to recruiting. For those coaches that maybe haven't visited your timeline yet, tell them a little bit about what kind of message you're putting out there and what kind of brand you're trying to establish for yourself as a young student athlete.
On my social media, if you look at it right now, you see that I'm just in love with the game. I'm training anywhere between 2 and 3 times a day. And I'm very aware of what I'm posting, what I retweet and all that, because there's also that bad side of social media that can really hurt you as a player.
Yeah, very smart. Very good. Coaches want to hear about you as a player. They want to see that you love the game and are passionate about the game. They want to see you calling out your teammates on something positive, your coaches, your community, things like that. So you definitely understand the power and the strength of social media presence and how important it is in recruiting. Hey, a little bit lighter of a question. I always like to ask these questions to kind of give these coaches some insight about you personally. What's your all-time favorite sports movie?
My favorite sports movie has to be Remember the Titans.
Okay, good call there. And then when it's your time to pick, if you guys are going out to eat or having dinner at home, what's your favorite food to eat?
I'm gonna have to go with grilled salmon with mashed potatoes and rice.
Ooh, I like that. That's a first right there. Usually I hear wings or Chick-fil-A, smoked salmon with mac and cheese. I like that. Okay, good stuff.
Yes, sir.
And then I don't know if you're a big movie fan, Marvel, Justice League, but if you could choose, what superhero would you be and why?
I would have to go with Black Panther because his suit is just like so cool. Like that's probably one of the best suits Marvel's ever made, I think.
Yeah,
And I just like really enjoy like how he like just protects his people, like he protects his people he loves.
yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, great movie, great hero, great person to look up to there. Tell me, as we move into a little bit more about your future, tell us who are going to be the people who will be helping you make your college decision when you decide to commit here in a few years.
Definitely my family, especially my dad and my uncle who attended the University of Indiana and played in the league for 6 years with the Indianapolis Colts and the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, good job. My son played for Buffalo Bills, so shout out, to the 716 your uncle there. There is not a student athlete that doesn't love to play in front of a packed stadium with community fans rooting them on Friday night or Saturday. But tell me, what do you do to give back to your community? Are you involved in church? Are you involved in community programs, nonprofits? What are you doing to give back for the support of people who cheer you on at your games?
One of the main programs I'm a part of is one that's on base. It's called the Kids for Tots, where you give toys out for kids that are like not as privileged as I am.
Mhm.
And that's like the big one for me.
Oh, I like it. Like that a lot. So, KJ, I didn't know that you guys actually live on base now or no?
No, it's about a 30-minute drive from where we're at, but we go
Okay.
down there a lot. Yes, sir.
But you have spent time on an Army base growing up,
Mhm.
I assume. Yeah, I remember those days. Lots of good times on an Army base. One of my favorite questions, KJ, is, when football's over, whenever that is, what do you want your life to look like when you're done with the game or the game is done with you?
When I'm done with the game, I definitely want to start a family and I definitely want to have my own training facility. Like I want to own one and become a coach and give back to the kids.
Okay. I like that. Okay. Businessman and giving back. I kill two birds with one stone. I like that a lot. KJ, do you have a favorite quote? And if you do, what is it?
My favorite quote is winning is not everything, but making the effort to win is. And that's Vince Lombardi said that.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one to motivate you. KJ, when you talk about motivation, obviously there are days when athletes just, I don't feel like working out today, or I don't feel like lifting today, I don't feel like doing my working on my speed or whatever. What do you do as an athlete to motivate yourself on those days that you really aren't feeling it?
Those days I'm like not motivated. It's either the passion of like the love of the game I have is either that what motivates me, or I feel like that I'm overlooked as a player. So I just go out there and work to become the best in my class.
Yeah, that's great. Great response there. One of my other favorite questions, I think everybody in life needs to understand their why, whatever that is. Tell us, what is your why? Why do you play this sport and what do you hope to get out of it?
I play football because there's really no other sport like football. Like this is the ultimate team sport. You can't just rely on yourself. And it takes like a group of 11 guys to reach the common goal. And it just teaches so many life lessons through the game.
Yeah, no, that's a great response. To me, and you've heard me say this, football is the greatest team sport there is. No disrespect to the other sports, but it also is the greatest teacher of life skills. Nowhere else in life, like football, do you get knocked down on one day and get back up and have to get up and get some more, similar to what your mom and dad did in their career and like mom doing every day. And then understanding the importance of teamwork and camaraderie and having somebody's back truly. When you do that in sports, that's to me a life skills experience that automatically translates to whatever career you decide. So that's a great response there. Tell me, what are you working on? So you just finished your sophomore year. What do you draw? What are some of the things you're working on to get ready for next season? What do you consider your strengths right now, and what are some things you're working on to add to your game?
Some of my strengths this past season was my tackling ability. I thought I was third on the team on tackles this past season. My route running ability and just my length this season was like very shown this year. And
Okay.
then I don't feel like I have any like big weaknesses in my game. There's obviously like little things like technique, my off man, my press man, my route running can always be worked on. But the main thing I'm focusing on this offseason is strengthening my lower half of my body and working on my top end speed. And also, we had a bunch of seniors graduate this year, so I have to be prepared to go both ways.
Okay, good to know. Okay, for the coaches that are out there, I recently have had KJ at multiple events, but we had him here recently at a Dallas camp for FBU. Introduced him to some of my buddies, my former NFL DBs, Chet and some of the guys, and they loved your length. They love that you're not just a guy that says, "Hey, I play safety." The thing that I'm most impressed, and you remind me of my son, KJ, is that you can play corner, you can play nickel, and you can play safety. You're tall, you're lean, you can run, and you have great ball skills. Tell us what's your mentality? You talk to some kids and like, "Coach, nope, I'm only a corner," or "Nope, I'm a safety." Why do you try and master all three of those critical positions in the secondary?
Because at the end of the day, you're just a football player. Like whatever position your coach wants you to play, you're going to play that position if you want to play.
Yeah, that's awesome, because the more, as you told me, as you've heard me say, the more things you can do at elite level, the more options you'll have in football and the more options you'll have in life. So you definitely understand that. KJ, tell me as we finish up here, how would your teammates describe you as a teammate?
My teammates would describe me as like every day I'm gonna control what I can control. So I'm gonna bring 100% effort. I'm always gonna bring a great attitude because I just love the game, and I'm always gonna be there for my teammates. I'm lift them up when they're down, and they're gonna lift me up if I'm down.
Gotcha. Tell me, would your coaches, we had a talk this weekend with some of my NFL buddies, and we were talking about trust and how important it is for an athlete to prove and gain the trust of their teammates and their coaches to do the job well, and to be a playmaker. How would you rank your trust level with both your teammates and your coaches?
I think my coaches and my teammates have 100% trust in me. I was one of the very few starters on a heavy senior and junior team, and they trust me to make the big play when it comes and just be like who I am.
Okay, I like it. KG, I think maybe you've heard me say this, but I usually bucket players into two buckets. One bucket of players just love playing the game and wait until game time and then flip the switch and turn the lights on and get after it. The other bucket is players that love to practice and prepare to get ready for a great performance at a game. Which bucket are you in?
I love to practice, man. Because when you practice, you get 1% better. I believe that you get 1% better every time. And I feel like it is key to success, like winning those games on Friday nights and making it to state championships.
Gotcha. No, it's great, great response. You know how important film is. Tell these coaches, are you a big film study guy? Do you like to put together film and watch your opponent and look for little advantages that maybe the receivers tipping a route or a tight end or a quarterback? Tell us about your film study a little bit.
I'm a big film guy. I think it's definitely like a key to like being successful on that Friday night. Just picking up like what their scheme is, little tendency the team does or players do that give away plays. And I think when you watch film, you prepare for the game, and that's just going to make you play better.
Yeah, I think your dad and I were talking at one of the camps, and I was telling about my son's background being an NFL DB for 7 years in the league. And what we found, I think I shared this with you, but I'll share it again. Eventually, when you get to the highest level, even in college, everybody's big and everybody is fast and everybody is physical. The difference when you get to the elite level is the film study and preparation, because the game is no longer physical. You can't rely on speed because everybody's fast. Your film study, your study of the scouting report, your study of your opponents is what makes a difference. So I'm glad you understand that at a very early age. That'll take you a long way, because there will be a time when you lose a step. You see these guys like Tom Brady, playing for 16 years, and these other defensive players who are playing a long time. They obviously don't have the same speed and athleticism they had before, but they pick it up in their mental toughness and their mental preparation, and that's why they have a elongated career. So I know you'll do the same thing here. KJ, is there a certain player you pattern your game off of, and if so, who?
I have 3 players for this one, 2 on the defense side. I would have to go with Jalen Ramsey and Richard Sherman, because Richard Sherman's IQ is just like on a different level. And then Jalen Ramsey's technique on his off man and off press is just crazy. And then on the offense side of the ball, I would have to go with DeAndre Hopkins because of his route running, and he's catching anything in his radius.
Yeah, no, 3 great examples. And in fact, Richard Sherman and my son came out in the same draft class in 2011. And it's funny that the two guys you mentioned, Jamal Ramsey, extremely athletic, fast, physical. Richard Sherman, receiver turned DB, didn't have elite speed, but made up for that gap by studying film and just being a great understanding of defense and routes, and having, I think, a Hall of Fame career. So it's interesting you mentioned those two guys who kind of have different profiles of their game. So I like that a lot. Tell me, how important, tell these coaches how you define mental toughness. We talk about mental toughness all the time. I can't really define it, but I know it when I see it. How do you define mental toughness for these coaches?
For me, my mental toughness, I always play with a next play mentality, especially at the DB and receiver position, because when you start focusing on the pass, it just messes up your whole game the rest of the time. So you always have to be ready for the next play, have a short-term memory.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's a great mentality to have there. A couple other questions here as we finish up. I believe as a coach, dealing with adversity makes you stronger. Tell these coaches about a time in your life, either personally or through athletics, where you had to overcome some type of adversity.
Just this past season in our state championship game, I tweaked my shoulder in the second quarter, but I was able to come back and finish with 12 plus tackles at the end of the game. So, yeah.
So 12 plus tackles in one game at the DB position. That's outstanding. I don't know what that says about your front seven, but I'm sure it was a positive. So that's good to hear. Hey, tell us, what other sports, you're obviously tall and lean, athletic. What other sports have you played besides football?
We're talking about from my childhood.
Even back when you first started getting involved with sports. What other sports have you played?
I played soccer, basketball, track, and basketball. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Currently right now, are you running track right now? What are you doing here in this off season to stay competitive and working your speed?
The track season is just about to start up, and I compete in the triple jump, 400, 200, the 4x1, the 4x200.
Nice. I love how you put that in order. As a former track coach and father of, my wife ran track in college and all my kids ran. Usually kids I run the 1, the 2, and the 4. Anybody that's run track like you and I understand that quarter puts hair in your chest. You have to be a different individual to be great at the 400. The 100, the sprint, it's over in 10, 11 seconds, even a 200. But when you run the 400 and you feel like that last 50 meters, your lungs are about to explode through your chest, it definitely gives you another level of mental toughness that we just talked about earlier. So I'm glad to hear that you run that. Tell me about, we talk about leadership. Every coach loves to coach a player that shows leadership. How do you define leadership, and how do you plan on leading your team going into your junior year?
I define leadership by bringing my teammates to their full potential so we can reach the common goal of making it to the state championship. And when I say that, I mean every day I'm pushing them to their limits. I'm pushing myself to my limits, and we all have the same common goal that we're trying to reach.
Yeah, absolutely. What about leadership in the off season? Tell us a little bit about your leadership mentality there in the off season before the season starts.
Before the season starts, I'm always there at those morning workouts. I'm early to practices, and I'm always doing extra stuff after practices. I'm going to speed training. I'm doing extra lifting and everything like that.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about recruiting. You're kind of been flying under the radar. I think the message is out about you. People starting to know more about you. I know I've talked to a couple of Pac-12 schools about you. Tell us about your recruiting experience. Who are you hearing from? Who do you want to hear from? And what are some of your early goals as far as where you want to go to school? You want to stay in state close to your family? Do you mind going anywhere in the country? Give us a little bit of background to these coaches about your recruiting mindset right now.
My recruiting process is kind of slow and a little frustrating. Currently, I only hold one Division II offer from New Mexico Highlands University. And I feel like with my skill set, my length, my tackling ability, I definitely feel like I could play at the D1 level. And with my military background, I'm not afraid to go out of the state of Colorado and play. I would go anywhere in the country to go play D1 football.
Okay. Well, I know you've heard me say this many times at many different events, but everybody's recruiting is different. Everybody's journey is different. I hate to use the old term, but trust the process. You are a star in the making, and guys just don't know about you yet. It's still very early. You're just now a sophomore. We're going through this COVID-19 environment. Lots of things with the transfer portal and guys coming back a year. Believe me, Focus on just becoming the best player you can be each year, and I guarantee you somebody will come and find you. And in fact, I will make a big important a decision to help you make sure that happens, because you're too talented, and those academics are going to get you to a lot of different offers. When we have, and we'll do a follow-up interview probably going into the season, maybe this time next year, we'll look back this time and you only had one offer, and you'll talk about it just drove me and motivated me, and now I've got 15 offers, and I've got opportunities from all over the country. So I have no doubt. I've been evaluating talent for over 35 years in my career, and you've got lots of talent. You have a great family. You got the great academics, great dog mindset. I would not worry about where you are today. That one offer is going to turn to 10 here very quickly. So hey, as we finish up here, and I appreciate your time, tell these coaches, there's not a coach that doesn't love a player with a high competitive motor. Tell these coaches a little bit about how competitive you are in your sport and in life in general.
My competitive spirit is just something else. Like, if we're just going to play a pickup basketball game, I want to win everything. I want to win board games. I want to win basketball. I want to win soccer. We can play anything. I want to win for sure.
Okay, I like it. I like that a lot. Hey, lastly, KJ, we talked about it earlier, but a lot of the college coaches that watch these podcasts, they love the elevator pitch. They love to hear student athletes advocate for themselves. They're always the point when I was recruiting, I don't want to hear it from mom and dad. I don't want to hear it from the high school coach. I want to hear that player tell me in his own words why he wants to come to XYZ University and get his education and play football. Take this last time of the interview to look in the camera and tell these coaches why they should recruit you and what you're going to bring to their program.
Hello, coaches. My name is KJ Smedley, class of 2023. I feel like with my unique length and rare tackling ability at the corner position, also, I'm always, every day, I'm going to get better. I'm going to focus on something else. I'm going to get 1% better every day. And I definitely feel like I can bring something to your program.
I like it. Short to the point, man. KJ, I'm excited for you. I know I'll see you out at Top Gun and many other events coming here with the National Combine coming up. Coach is going to learn a lot more about you going forward and your elite DB skills. Keep doing what you're doing. Just keep working hard. Don't focus on the number of offers. Don't look at all these other guys on their timeline. Just do you right now. And like I always say, when you're really good, people will come find you. So don't worry about that. Tell the family I said hello, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you soon. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.